Hello there, welcome back. I'm going to look at disaster films now for What the Hell Is This? 3 of them, 2 from the 90s and 1 from the 2015. So it was San Andreas, which we'll cover last. This is the most recent film. But also the 2 Volcano films, which is Dante's Peak and Volcano. I included San Andreas because, like Volcano, it takes place in the LA area, although it goes to San Francisco. But it's also a case of, this was another one where it's a star vehicle, the disaster movie, but it's really a star vehicle, and it's ridiculous. It felt like it could have been made this time quite easily. I'm amazed it wasn't. An earthquake film wasn't made during the disaster era, because this is after Independence Day made a lot of money. They thought, well, it's a disaster film, so let's make more disaster films. But the problem with disaster films, right, is that it's guilty pleasure, where you like seeing things blow up, you like seeing things destroyed, but you have to put it back right at some point. You need a heroic moment towards the end, which Independence Day had, so you can enjoy the disaster porn, and then they have heroes who are proactive and do something. Even if what they do in Independence Day is really stupid, it still adds something. And it's something that Volcano at least understands. The other 2 are films that are just vaguely move around, things happen. So there's less motive. I found like some of these films were very unmotivated as dramas. Well, Volcano's absurd, but it is motivated. It does have they do have in Volcano, the basic idea is there's a problem, how do we solve it? How do we deal with it, even though it's an absurd problem? In a way, like Dante's Peak never does that. It just is escape, which I think's very, very, very kind of as a feeling of, oh, let's run away. Which I'm not sure people respond to that. I think that's why that's one of the reasons why I like Volcano more. Also, Tommy Lee Jones is more fun than Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan is never going to be as fun as Tommy Lee Jones. I'll start with Dante's Peak because honestly, it's the one of the 3 films, the one I like least. But I've been talking about it. It helps me put on what, even though Volcano itself as a film is more absurd, it actually is more right. So Dante's Peak is basically they're taking a Jaws model, which is a guy tells someone there's a problem, everyone ignores it, and then all hell breaks loose. The problem is, one, the guy saying it is an expert on the subject, so why they not listen to him? So it seems absurd. So they have the local politics side of it, but it's like, this guy's an expert, you should listen to him, even if it's a false alarm. You should listen to him. And secondly, the whole drama is done up in a way that's really absurd. So you have a guy coming in who's Pierce Brosnan's boss, who says, let's not jump the gun, let's cause economic problems to the place. Which makes sense, actually. But it's like, why didn't Pierce Brosnan's character, if he's so experienced, understand that straight away? It makes him look stupid. And why didn't he recommend a very careful thing of, okay, this might blow, if so, how do we get out? How do we work out? And let's just keep an eye on it. It just feels like there's a false drama where his boss has to be completely wrong and Pierce Brosnan has to be completely right to make it work. And it brings up the issue where the film itself is having lots and lots of scenes where people behave stupidly and no one acts like grown up, and it's just false drama. People are telling you exposition constantly for stuff they would know, and the things that should be done visually that aren't, that are done with lots of dialogue and lots of over talk, way too much talk, and they make all the people who understand Volcano as very geeky as if they're in Twister, because this came out but a year after Twister, I think. But it's the same kind of generic thing of, oh, let's make all these people who are into this geeky as hell, and you don't really trust them because they seem too much like overgrown children, except for Pierce Brosnan and another guy, and one of them's right, one of them's wrong, and it's like one, the other people should be feel more like grown ups, and two, why do you need all these people here? It feels like it's a team for the sake of having a team, but why would you bring all these people out when you just need like a technician and a guy who's an expert? And okay, if Pierce Brosnan's character is traumatized from an other experience, why do you send him out in the first place? It's just the drama stuff's all kind of really tedious, and it's like, please let the mountain explode as quickly as possible to save us from this. Even worse is the drama dealing with the townspeople, which is obviously, someone's going to invest in town, so we have to keep everything under wraps. Boring. Linda Hamilton plays the mayor, and she's as good as she can be with the writing, basically. She's doing her best with his writing, and she has no chemistry with Pierce Brosnan whatsoever. She's doing most of the work there. Brosnan was just been cast as Bond. He'd been Bond for one film, and you can tell he's still working it out, and he doesn't look very comfortable in his part. Like he understands that he's saying a lot of stuff that's nonsense, and he's saying stuff that's not motivated, and you just get a sense of an actor who knows he's in some bullshit scenes, and he's trying to charm his way through them, but it's like, if only he knows he's in some scenes that are dodgy as hell. I think Linda Hamilton has the same feeling in rehearsing. It's like, let's get through some of this nonsense. And every scene feels overwritten, where it could have been done in half the time with a lot more charm if they'd a competent writer doing it. So you've got all this stuff where you spend most of the time thinking, this character's either annoying, incompetent, or immature, and we're going through this drudge of these scenes that don't really add too much. So it has this meandering quality of, we know that the effect sequences are coming, can we please get to them as quickly as possible, because most of these other scenes are, it takes you forever to get to scenes that actually feel like they should be in the film. It feels like first half of the film could have been gone and you wouldn't have missed a damn thing. So the film feels overlong. The camera's never really in the right place, and it never feels like the director's taking command of any scene. It just feels like they've been written, the studio wants them written, done this way, and let's just shoot it. So there's no one in control of this film. And then when you get to the second half where everything goes to hell, it's a bunch of set pieces that are there to have the special effects sequences that are very pre-planned happen. There's no this leads to this logically. No, the reason why everything goes wrong is two kids don't follow what their mum told them to go and get a grandmother who wouldn't leave our location, so the whole film can happen, which means they have to escape from this place and halfway up the mountain to get back to the town, avoid the lava, so there's lots of action scenes that happen. But if you have an unmotivated reason for it starting, because kids are stupid, you feel kind of annoyed just watching any scenes, even though they're all production designed well. It's the best way to put it. The effects people do their jobs, production people do their jobs. The progression of shot to shot though is kind of ropey. It just feels like it hasn't been planned out in regard to having characters in a situation that's interesting, having characters that are interesting that you can follow, to having situations that follow on from one to the other. It just seems like, okay, here's a guy, this is what volcanoes do, let's have this, and this. Well, how do you put them all logically to feel like they're happening? We just have the character drive through these different areas, or go on a boat. In an old disaster movie, you would have different characters in different situations. You wouldn't have to do this. You'd literally have someone being stupid, they pay for stupidity to get to see that sequence. Someone else is here, someone else is there, and you get a accumulation of some people survive, some people don't. And it would feel a bit unmotivated and sometimes, but you'd get your idea, you'd get your money shots for the trailer. Instead, in this one, the lead character has to go through all this stuff that they'd be dead repeatedly. There's no way to survive in any of these situations. And the whole film just becomes weightless because of that. It's like the character's not there. The actions they're doing are stupid. They go and rescue this woman who dies about 10 minutes later. And just feels like, what? And they end up surviving. They end up surviving a massive ash cloud coming down over the town by getting into this mine. You're thinking, okay, well, the first thing that happened here was the lava go through this mine and burn to death. That doesn't happen because they don't want that to happen. Even though it's like, well, why is the lava not going through this area? Obviously, everything's been mined. The lava goes straight there. So they survive in an area that die instantly at. And they just die from no air as well. It's just like, there's so many scenes in this film, you'd be dead. And you can't suspend your disbelief. At least I couldn't. It's just a bad film. It's just a really bad film. It's a film that just makes me always feel like the people making the things are really stupid. Now, I know someone, Alex, who likes this film. I'm glad you like it. I don't get it. I didn't think it was very good at all. I just annoyed the hell out of me. Now, Volcano, on the other hand, is gleefully stupid and owns it. There's no such thing as a volcano in LA, but they take the idea of the faults in the normally cause earthquakes are tied to a volcanic source further down. That suddenly erupts in LA, and it's basically Tommy Lee Jones plays a guy whose job is basically to deal with the city's emergencies, like to tell ambulance people to go here, there, and everywhere, and just basically oversee the different calamities that happen in a large city every day. And it's just like, normally it's basic stuff, like there's a car crash, there's a fire, there's some problems here, problems there. He just kind of deals with different departments and says, you deal with this, you deal with that. That's his job. I don't think that exists, but it might exist. But it's logical for the setup, and it's logical why he becomes the hero character in the film. He's a workaholic. So basically, once the volcano thing starts with an earthquake and a volcano, he goes straight to work. He goes straight towards work, and he's caught up as he's going to work, trying to stop the volcanic problems. And in the first third of the film, he's trying to work out what's going on because it can't be a volcano because it's in LA. There's no volcano in LA. And it's like, okay, the absurdity of the idea becomes the reason why things aren't done, and it suddenly makes much more sense. Like, unlike in Dante's Peak, where it's like, well, why aren't they being just more logical with this? This one is like, yeah, because there's no way this is going to happen. I mean, it does, they have to deal with it. So even though it's stupid, they have to deal with an absurd situation. And he spends the rest of the film coordinating the ambulances, coordinating the fire department, trying to get people moved back and find a way, where's the lava going to go, and how do we keep people out of the way, how do we get people out of the city, and basically it's trying to create a route for the lava to go to the sea, so everyone will be safe. And that's the plot. First half, set up the absurdity and set up the problems. Second half, deal with the problems. How difficult is that? So the stupid one actually makes more sense than the supposed smart one in the these movies. And it works. Anne Hesh is the female lead. She's the scientist who's telling them there's something wrong. And unlike in Dante's Peak, this one he's like, I'm not sure I buy it, but let's see where it goes. Like, I'm not disputing everything. We'll investigate, we'll figure it out. It might be something different, but let's figure it out and let's see, oh, there might be a problem. And let's investigate. So he acts like someone who doesn't quite believe what they've been told, but let's investigate it and let's be a professional about it. Which makes the character suddenly much more sympathetic. He's got a daughter who he's trying to protect, and she's living with him because he's a divorcee, and he has to protect her from the problem. They end up getting her to the hospital, and she ends up learning to help people. And she gets in danger towards the end when they realise the lava's heading towards the hospital, and she becomes in danger. And there's a big absurd end scene we have to save her and blow up a building to move the lava in a certain direction. It's over the top as hell, but it works because it's enjoyably silly. And the rest of the film has had the same level of we know it's silly, but we'll try to take it as serious as we can and have situations that you can understand. There's a bit about racist cop that's a bit overdone, but even then it's like, yeah, that's probably happened in LA on a daily basis. And it's like, yeah, it's cheesy, but they're only cheese, and they're still having situations where it's a bit absurd, but it's the lava is more dangerous, and it just kind of works as a silly what if scenario. It's not it's a 3-star film. It's not the greatest film ever made, but it's a film you can watch every so often and have some fun with it. They have some Don Cheadle as an underling of Tommy Lee Jones, and he's like after his job, but they're joking about it, and he's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of actors. All the actors know exactly what film they're in, and they're enjoying it, and they know what cliche characters are playing, and they're having fun. And overall, there's a sense of scene to scene. You can enjoy it with these character actors. And Mick Jackson directed it, who years before that he made Threads, which was a film of a nuclear war in Sheffield, which was brilliant, which I've covered on this channel. So he knows he's doing a mainstream blockbuster, but because he's got that experience, he can actually make a film that's reasonable within the limits of a blockbuster to actually make it feel like, okay, it's silly, but it's an enjoyable piece of hokum. So Volcano is the best of the bunch. San Andreas is the silliest. San Andreas is... What can we say about San Andreas? It's a rock movie where The Rock spends most of his time in a helicopter, trying to go from place to place to save his wife and save his daughter. And in between then, they find reason for him to go to the helicopter and find another helicopter and find a boat. And so he's trying to find his way to the earthquake to save his daughter after he saves his wife. His daughter's stuck in San Francisco with her family, this British guy who's there for a job interview, and his younger brother. And they're going through San Francisco from place to place to try and avoid the earthquake and all the different aftershocks and things. Basically, this film is stupid and over the top and has ridiculous things that would never happen, and The Rock does ridiculous like superhuman things. So it's as dumb as Dante's Peak, but it's more entertaining than Dante's Peak, because essentially the Alexandra Daddario plays his daughter, and her and the two Brits actually are a decent team. They're fun to watch. They're enjoyable to watch together. He's like the Brit's like the awkward guy. His younger brother enjoys teasing him. And the 3 human characters in this bad situation trying to survive. And it's like, that should have been a movie. Anytime you're with them, I'm like, okay, each of them has skills which they can use. They're trying their best to survive this bad situation. Anytime with you, they're always in danger with them. And you can get behind those characters. The Rock stuff is cheesy as hell. There's stuff with Paul Giamatti. He's the expert trying to tell people how it's going to happen, how this first earthquake was not the big one's coming, and he does all the exposition because Paul Giamatti, he does it well. The Rock stuff is just like, it's just there. He's a movie star, but he's not. It's like, why is he not in San Francisco when the earthquake goes off? Why are they not all in San Francisco? And he can do his heroic things as a movie star. Why do you spend most of the film him travelling around the country? Oh yeah, you can see there's other problems in the country. Or you can use news reports for that to tell you that quite easily. Instead, he's always out of danger, and you're never really following him within an area of you think he's in any danger. So it becomes a thing of him trying to patch up his marriage in the middle of this earthquake, which is kind of tedious because The Rock's not good at those kind of scenes, and it's like you're in the middle of an earthquake. Why is this the important thing? And it's just like feels like very unmotivated scenes, because it's like, yeah, he has to go and get to his daughter, but you're through all these scenes that feel a lot of legwork, but he's never really in danger, and he's never really seen anything that's that interesting. Well, every time you go back to the daughter, there's something interesting going on. So it's a film of two halves, basically. It's like one half of the film you want to see, the other half is like it's a movie star who's never really, until towards the end, have him in dangerous situations. Until then, he's not. So by the time you get to those situations, you've seen him survive a bunch of stuff, and it's no big deal, and it becomes a film basically that's kind of okay and watchable, but it's not that great. It didn't do brilliantly well when it was released. It did okay, but it didn't do amazing business, because I think because it was they didn't really deliver what people wanted to see. I think people think, okay, Dwayne Johnson in an earthquake movie, you want to see him in the middle of the earthquake instead of he gets there eventually. He's not really delivering what you promised on the poster or on the trailer. So yeah, it's a film that's not as good as it should be, but it's still kind of fun. But that's the problem with most disaster movies. They're generally, a lot of the time, they're kind of fun, but most of the time they're not that great. Every so often you get a really fun one like Poseidon Adventure. Or Tower Inferno's cheesy fun. But a lot of the time you actually looked at the disaster movies, a lot of the time it was very diffused, and people weren't doing what you really wanted to see them do, and even when they brought the disaster movie back up to with new special effects and trying to bring it back, they still haven't worked out how to keep you engaged with people going through bad situations. It's especially difficult as a movie star, because you know they're not going to survive, or they will survive unless they're Charlton Heston. I mean, but that's the thing, is that's too safe. It's much better to have character actors in those situations where there's danger of them not surviving. And so it's an enjoyable film. It's not as fun as Volcano, which is on paper the dumbest of the three films, but actually in execution, the least dumb of the three films. So this is the modern day disaster movie. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I took it apart a little bit, but yeah, I mean, they're going to keep doing them every so often. I think people like to see things blow up, like landmarks be destroyed, but you can need to have something happen after the disaster that's engaging. And Volcano had it. San Andreas kind of had it, but it was so diffused it wasn't really worth it, because it wasn't in the line of fire for long enough really to make it impactful. And Dante's Peak didn't know of a clue you were meant to do something like that. So that's me. That's the video. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.